Life. So I think we have some slides that I can show you a little bit about what Stand for Life is. I'm excited to tell you a little bit about what we do. And today's been really exciting. I mean, you guys have learned about, Planned Parenthood being defunded, and we've got beach balls, and we've got all these incredible speakers. But I really want to challenge you today that unless you know your story, then there is no heart behind our words. We can talk about being pro-life, we can give facts, we can give information, we can give resources, but until we know our story, your own personal convictions of why you stand for life, why you choose life, why you want others to do the same, then the words are kind of hollow. And so Stand for Life is a storytelling social media movement. We've had tens of thousands that have joined. If you go to the next slide, you can see some examples of stories that we've shared. Just last year, we reached 17 million people on Facebook. Join us on Instagram or Facebook, and you can read stories literally every single day. We tell stories of adoption, of foster care, of women choosing life in crisis pregnancies, all different kinds of things that no matter what the situation looks like, no matter how hard it is, life is always the beautiful choice. And we're really trying to change the narrative of the pro-life movement to be, look at all of the beautiful things that happen when life is chosen. So how many of you out there, sometimes whenever you talk about being pro-life to your friends, you feel a little scared sometimes, or maybe not prepared? Somebody? I do. I don't know. So if you go to the next slide, I'll give you a really simple way to be prepared, and this is what Stand for Life does. You can share your story. If you share your story, you have the power to impact people, just like Brian shared his story, wherever Brian went. Brian just shared a story of why he's involved in the pro-life movement. Jeannie came and told you that we should get involved and share our stories tomorrow. So we would love to be part of telling your story. So you can go online on Instagram, it's just Stand for Life, and Facebook, and there's a link. You can share your profile, and you can get this filter over your pictures that will help bring people in and tell your story even more. So we'd love to have you.
Wonderful. That was an excellent start. So Reagan, how about you take it away and tell everyone what you do?
What's going on, Pro-Life Gen? I'm Reagan. I'm with Students for Life of America, and we are a pro-life organization that we start groups at colleges, high schools, middle schools, home schools, men and law schools. Are any of you guys involved with the pro-life group at your school? Awesome. For those of you that aren't, we have a booth in the expo hall. We'd love to help you get one started. So at Students for Life, we work with students, right? And so many students, especially in college, they're all on their phones, right? Can't even look at each other. We're all on our phones doing social media. So Students for Life, we are proud to be involved with different social media platforms. Over there, you can see all the different ways to follow us. So if you guys want to go ahead and pull out your phones and find a platform that you want to get involved with us on. But social media is such a great way to get involved with others and share the pro-life message. And that's where you can meet people where they're at. And one thing that Students for Life we have is our Pro-Life Gen News. And the next slide has a news clip that I thought I'd like to share with you.
Luke Skywalker is having some baby mama drama. Hi, I'm Missy Stone with Students for Life, and this is your Pro-Life Gen News for Monday, September 12th. Let's get started. So we all know that Planned Parenthood is obsessed with abortions, but what a lot of people don't know is that they've been caught covering up sexual abuse of minors multiple times. Medical professionals are told to be suspicious if a child under 14 becomes pregnant or contracts an STD. But staff at Planned Parenthood of the Rocky Mountains didn't agree. One later admitted being 13 and pregnant alone is not a red flag to them. So no report was filed when Timothy Smith came in with his 13-year-old stepdaughter to have an abortion, even though he is the father. They also didn't ask Edgar Ramirez any questions, despite having done 2 abortions on his 13-year-old daughter in less than 6 months. Well, this just sort of makes me so mad. I can't. They even gave her an IUD, making sure that the abuse could continue without the risk of pregnancy. Planned Parenthood wasn't worried about Gary Cross's victim either. Cross took his 13-year-old stepdaughter to Planned Parenthood when her mother noticed she had gained weight. Even though she was well below the age of consent, no one contacted authorities. Instead, they set up a late-term abortion, after which Cross went right back to abusing her. Planned Parenthood is not providing women's health care. They are destroying people's lives. Mark Hamill, who is most known for his role as Luke Skywalker, is having some baby mama drama. Megan Chen is suing to establish that Mark's son is the father and to collect child support. Megan said that Mark Hamill's family told her to have an abortion. She's claiming Mark Hamill told her she shouldn't bring a child into the world that nobody wants. Mark Hamill has obviously joined the dark side. Newman University, a Catholic school in Wichita, canceled a scheduled talk with Kansas Supreme Court Justice Carol Byer. But it's not for the reasons that you would think. The Catholic University doesn't care that she notoriously supports abortion, but instead was concerned because some people were mean on social media. So those are all things that caught our eye today on Missy Stone with Students for Life. If you like what you saw, be sure to give it a share. Follow us on all of our social media channels, and if you have any questions, go to studentsforlife.org.
Third panelist is Lauren Merz from Live Action, so she'll tell a little bit about what she does with them.
Thanks, Gabriella. I'm Lauren Merz. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships with Live Action, and I got involved in the pro-life movement from probably age 4. I'm actually the oldest of 14 kids. You heard correctly, 14. So I grew up, my mom and dad, of course, kind of pulled me aside when I was like 7 years old and explained what abortion was, and I could put it in the back of my mind being like, well, that's awful. But it didn't come up again, and then when I was in college, there were just always like these little nags. So there was a Shield of Roses was a college group, and they would come into DC to do prayer outside of Planned Parenthood facility, and I never went. 4 years of college, and I ignored them every Saturday morning. I was like, I'm too tired, I have studying to do. So I ignored, kind of the heartstrings of the pro-life movement in college, and then after college, I was actually a philosophy major, so I'm very passionate about changing the culture and human nature and things like that. So I moved back to DC after college, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get involved in politics. And then quickly learned that if we can kill our own children, nothing else matters, truly. We don't have an economy, we don't have a country if we can kill our own kids. So I actually heard our president, Lila Rose, speak at an event here in DC, and like Brian was saying, she just like really clarified all of my internal questions. I had never voiced this to anybody, but I was kind of like, well, what about rape and incest? Like, what do we do for those poor moms? And it's totally true, but a child is a child no matter how they are conceived, so they have to be protected at all times. So I was working for the Media Research Center at the time where I actually met Gabriella.
She was actually my intern supervisor. So for those of you who get involved in politics with a pro-life cause, you may interact with your mentors again. So it's really nice to go full back circle.
Super cool. So when I was at the Media Research Center, we were actually helping to promote Live Action's investigation while I was there, which was the Inhuman investigation, which exposed the late-term abortions that they were doing at the time. And I was like, all right, I think I'm ready for a job change, and I actually found a job description through the Heritage Job Bank that was like written for me. It was like, God was like, this is for you. So I applied, and I've been with Live Action for 3 years, and again, I'm Director of Strategic Partnerships, so I run the fundraising department, and then also build relationships with other pro-life organizations, and anybody really who wants to be friends with us and help promote our content. So we work really hard to expose the abortion industry and also the procedures that they do. So we want people to feel and think about abortion. It's very easy because the left seems to have, the narrative like kind of kinged at the moment because they can use euphemisms all the time, like clump of cells, women's reproductive rights, and all these things. So our goal is to create really compelling content that makes people like, it hits your gut and you're like, wow, I cannot believe this is what is happening every day in our country. So if you haven't liked us on Facebook, you should join the 1.7 million other people who have. We have awesome graphics, videos, and articles that we promote daily. We also have Live Action News that we promote to that as well. And the video that we're about to show is actually featuring our abortion procedures. There's a 4-series set that came out last February, and they became the most viral pro-life videos in history with 73 million views in a year. So the video, actually, we took these videos to the streets in LA and showed people in 4 minutes what happens in certain abortions, and I think this is the DNC one. And so you'll actually see we change people's hearts and minds on abortion in the streets of LA in 4 minutes. So
would you consider yourself pro-life, pro-choice, or neither?
Pro-choice. Would you restrict it at any point?
No.
No. So all the way up until birth.
Once the cervix has been stretched open, the suction tube is placed inside. A baby at 20 weeks gestation is as big as the length of my hand, from head to rump, not counting the legs. The suction machine is turned on, and pale yellow amniotic fluid surrounding the baby is suctioned out through the catheters. With babies this big, they don't fit through catheters this size. The baby's bones and skull are too strong to be torn apart by suction alone. This is a sofa clamp.
It's rough. Do you think now, watching this and from what you just said, do you still support abortions up to birth?
I think the person should have a choice to have an abortion or not.
Wow, it's brutal. Does it change your mind at all?
Yeah. So,
Abortion shouldn't be legal.
It's your life, so it's your choice. And you believe that the baby, that you don't want the baby, then it's your choice. So, pro-choice, I guess. I didn't realize that, like, the baby was, you know, doing that kind of stuff at such an early stage.
Does this change your life at all about abortion?
Yeah. I believe that's like murder right there, what I saw.
My opinion is that it should be part of the woman's right to choose whether or not to abort her baby.
In one word, your thoughts on what you just saw?
Inhumane or heinous, yeah. It does change my mind. Like, a lot of people just say, oh, like, abortion's okay, or it should be okay, but then I feel like a lot of us we're not really aware of what's the process of it and what's actually happening.
Panelists a few questions, and they're going to do their best to give you kind of rapid fire responses, but on some advice. So I'm going to ask you all, so first, and you guys can answer whichever one. So for our audience, what would you recommend are some do's and don'ts for sharing the pro-life message across social media? So I can start. Yeah.
I think one thing is like a fair warning: don't get involved in like comment wars. It's not going to convince somebody who's like vehemently pro-choice. The best method that we use, and like we showed in the abortion procedure videos, is to like ask really hard-hitting questions, get people thinking about what they actually stand for, and then show them what happens in an abortion. And you can use our videos if you want to; they're a great resource for that.
Very good. Anyone else want to add? Anyone? Reagan, want to add?
Sure. One thing that I just wanted to add, not to be negative, because there's so many awesome things that you can do on social media, but one don't have fetus tunnel vision, and don't. Because if you think about it, 1 in 3 women are going to have an abortion in her lifetime, right? And we know that babies are a victim of abortion, and it's so important to, share that message. But let's not forget about the women that have been hurt. And there's going to be women that are friends with you on social media that are hurting because of their abortion. And we want to give them an outlet that they can share their story and, hopefully engage with other people so they don't make that same choice. So when you're posting on social media, always be aware of the women that will see your posts.
Yeah, and I will absolutely agree. Stand for Life, we have 3 guidelines that we try to encourage all of our followers to follow, kind of similar to this. One is empathy. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes. So obviously, yes, you're speaking truth, but words matter, and how you say things matter. So be wise and pray about what you think, what you say before you type it out. The other is community. So if you have ever a chance to talk to somebody in person, that is the better option, if that's possible, or call them up on the phone. And the other one is grace. So just grace upon grace. that God is big enough, His forgiveness is big enough, and you can be the extender of grace to people that might have had an abortion in the past.
All right, so the second question we have for our panelists is kind of thinking along the lines of big picture. How do you think social media can be used to change the culture in favor of life? And the second bit would be, and how essentially can our generation play a role in that? Okay, so anyway, sorry,
one of the ways that I think you can change the culture is, if you're just continuously posting things on social media, people are going to see your content and see how the pro-lifers, we're not just judgmental people, like we truly care about women and children. We don't want to take away their health care, we want to help them. And so if you continuously post things, your friends who might not be pro-life will see that. And maybe they won't agree with you right away, but maybe a year or two later, after seeing all your stuff, maybe their eyes will start to open up and maybe they'll comment. And maybe it won't be a nice comment, but commenting is a first step in getting somewhere with them, right? And don't engage in social media wars, of course. But that would be one of the ways. And just always posting alternatives and ways for people to get involved, too.
Anyone want to add more?
I love what Jeannie said about a culture of life. That's what we're all about, is how can we, as a group, as the pro-life generation, how can we encourage a culture of life? So obviously any baby that is saved from abortion that's a win. But how do we, as a culture, how do we pull our culture into valuing every single life? And social media is a huge part of that. You can reach large amounts of people very quickly. So again, be wise with that. But as I was saying earlier, your story is so impactful. So use your platform to share your heart about the issue. Absolutely share content and information that will help people's viewpoint change. But your heart is really where people will be drawn in to listen to you and to respect you even more.
Yeah, I would just totally jump off of that. I think that building a culture of life is not just convincing other people to be pro-life, but to also respect your own life. So, improve yourself constantly, strive for excellence in service of others. And because pro-life, part of you is not just a piece, it's like you're a whole person and that's what people are going to perceive. So if you're posting hateful things on whatever it is, could be violence of any kind or whatever, but then you're posting these peaceful, pro-life things, it's just a mixed signal to all of your friends. So be really consistent in the dignity of your own life, and that's going to overflow to the dignity of everyone else.
Those are very thoughtful commentaries. All right, so third question I have for you all is, I see that there are a lot of young people here who are not yet in college. They're probably still in high school, but probably bound for college too. But what advice would you want to impart for them if they decide to go into pro-life advocacy full-time down the road?
I can start.
Yes.
So again, I was a philosophy major in college and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And it's really cool to see how you kind of learn your skill set in college, but then be really open and again, have that mentality of how can I serve others? Not what am I going to do with my life to make the most money, but how are you actually going to use your talents for other people, and that's going to change the culture. And, it seems like you are never too young. And so start thinking now, what degree you might want to go into, and you can use that in the pro-life movement. I mean, we can use anybody in the pro-life movement. We need you. And if you're still in high school now, start thinking about ways that you can help the pro-life movement now through internships, volunteer work, starting a pro-life group at your school, and so on. So it's not just waiting until after college. You can do it now, and we need you. We need you bad. A fourth of our generation is gone because of abortion. It's our time to act now. I have a quick follow-up. Just a couple career fields that I just see being, I'm on the leadership team at Live Action, and just these job gaps in the pro-life movement, that it's really hard to find awesome graphic designers and awesome people who are great at fundraising, which just means being a people person. All you have to do is be great and have good people skills. So those are two areas that we really need the help in if you're interested in any of those fields.
Yeah, creative people are really seriously in demand, so take an interest in those fields. It's a lot of fun. It may require a lot of work, but we surely can use those people in the pro-life movement.
Well, I'm happy to jump in here. So I majored in photography, and I am a creative, and I've done commercial photography for 8 years. Stand for Life is founded by graphic designers, photographers, We're all creatives, and that is a huge need for the pro-life movement. So if you're creative, look for ways that you can jump into graphic design or photography. Telling the narrative, y'all, is, I'm from Texas, clearly. It's a real thing. Telling the narrative is so important, to tell it well and to tell it with grace. And so if you are a creative, that is definitely a jump-in point. And I would also say, if you want to go into full-time service in the pro-life movement, get ready to be really tired and and to be used all the time, because there's so much work to be done.
Excellent points. Well, I guess that pretty much concludes it, but just as a reminder, I hope you all are tuning in to all of the March for Life social channels and engaging with us there. We want you all to be tweeting, Facebook Living, Instagram Living, what have you. We want to make sure you guys are posting along the line so we can see all of your awesome posts, and hopefully we can all share them. And make sure you follow all these ladies and their wonderful organizations and connect with them, because we all want to be a resource. Please come to March for Life for any questions you may have to all their respective organizations. This is a great opportunity for you to network with people this early on, especially if you're thinking of going into pro-life advocacy. So if there's nothing else, I think we should give our wonderful panelists a round of applause, right? Enjoy the March for Life, everyone.